Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Edith. I am a holistic health coach specializing in plant-based nutrition, and today I am 61 days fully raw. So this video is going to be taking you through my experience eating a fully raw vegan diet for the last 60 days. And today I am actually eating fruit only. I actually started a few days ago, so I'll share another video soon coming about eating only fruit. And I'm currently 3 days in, as I said, and breakfast today is watermelon. And I'm also hosting a 7-day fruit only challenge in my private community. And by the time this video has uploaded, we would have already started, but you can always join my school community. I'll have that link below, and I go live in there once a week, and even more so when we have these challenges. So definitely check that out. I have all of my ebooks in there and all of my other challenges / courses in there that you can access as part of the membership as well. I'm going to take you through the theme of how I ate throughout the entire 60 days. So I started every morning with 32 ounces of lemon water, followed by 32 ounces of celery juice. I follow the medical medium protocols as much as I possibly can, and I definitely believe in them. And then I ate some sort of a fruit-based meal. These are fresh mulberries that I got to pick, but most of the time I started the day with fresh melon. This is a yellow watermelon that I just had recently. It was so delicious. Most of the time I had fresh watermelon, and then I also had quite a bit of this honeydew melon, which it's not like the honeydew you get in the States. It's slightly different, but oh my gosh, any kind of a ripe melon is an ideal way to start your day. And then I ate kind of mixed fruit meals as well. This is the medical medium fruit cereal. The liquid I'm pouring on is banana milk. It's basically just blended banana and water. And then I had quite a few more fruit mono meals throughout the earlier parts of the day, and this was some cherries that I got to pick that were just right outside of my house here. So there's tons of abundant cherry trees here. The season's now over, but I definitely got to take good advantage of it while it was in season. I also got some fruit from the grocery store, so we have some kiwis and some mango here. This is really good. And then around midday, I would have a smoothie. I had a variety of different smoothies. This is like a berry smoothie, berry cherry smoothie with banana. And then I, of course, had tons of green smoothies with spirulina, and it's basically just spinach, banana, frozen pineapple, and spirulina blended together. So good. And then I also rotated between those and my chocolate cherry smoothie, which is insanely delicious. So up until dinner, I mostly ate fruit-based meals. Every single night, I would finish the day with a big raw salad, and you guys, these salads were insanely delicious. I really looked forward to them every single day. They were so satisfying, so grounding, and so energizing. I really, really loved them. And they were very similar each day, just slightly different depending on what ingredients I had on hand. And I also rotated the greens. So here I had, I think, a bunch of arugula and some spring mix, and I would also include some endive, some butter leaf lettuce, some green leaf lettuce, and some spinach. And I found that that was really good as well. And then I would add a variety of chopped up vegetables and one fruit component along with one of my salad dressings. I also used a variety of sprouts. This salad contains chickpea sprouts and then some fresh peas from the garden as well. And I also wanted to mention that I incorporated a fruit component to kind of fill in the gap that I had with the steamed vegetables that I was including prior to going fully raw. Here I have some lentil sprouts as well in this salad, and that adding the fruit component made the meal so satisfying. Another thing I did was add a raw vegan meat substitute. Those that you just saw there are my gourmet raw vegan meat replacement, which is just walnuts and some peppers and onions. to make. I just soaked the walnuts overnight and then I added them to the food processor with some spices in addition to the red onion and the red pepper. I used garlic and onion powder, paprika, and sea salt. You can use whatever spices you would like. That's the beauty of raw food. And I just pulsed it until I had kind of an even consistency, and I didn't dehydrate it. I just added it fresh to my salads every day, and it was insanely delicious. And a quick note about my salad dressings, I would just rotate between cilantro, basil, and dill, and that kept things interesting as well, and they were so good. On a few occasions, I ventured out to make a couple of new dishes, and one of them was this raw vegan fettuccine alfredo, which I shared in a previous video. It was very delicious. However, I did not feel my best after either of these meals. I feel so much better after a big salad versus some other kind of a gourmet recipe. Now, these are really great to have on hand, and I mean, to have the recipe on hand to when you want to make it, maybe for entertaining or maybe to have a side dish. But I definitely think that a big salad is kind of a must, especially for your microbiome health and then just for your own energy. And this was the second recipe that I kind of ventured out to make. This was, I would say, even more delicious. It was a cauliflower cashew soup, raw vegan, of course. And basically it's just blended raw cauliflower with soaked cashews, lemon, spices, and dill. And then I just threw in some more fresh dill. And this flavor was on point. Like, I could literally eat this every day. But again, I feel much better after a big salad. So I would have this maybe as a side dish or just sporadically. I also wanted to touch on the fact that I didn't change anything about my exercise routine. I kept going to the gym and working out like normal throughout the 60 days of eating a raw vegan diet, and I did not notice any dip in my energy. However, I also didn't notice an increase in my energy, so I just want to be fully transparent here. But I definitely felt like I was losing a little bit of weight, not much, maybe just a couple of pounds. I don't have a scale here in Hungary, but I definitely noticed maybe like 2 pounds or so. So in this next segment, I want to talk a little bit more about my experience, why I decided to embark on a fully raw period of time, and where I would like to go after this. So a little bit of background, I have been vegan for the last 8 years. I'm in my 9th year of being vegan, and I've been high raw for the last 6 years. So I've definitely experimented with raw food quite a bit during the last 6 years. I even have a couple of ebook recipe guides that are just fully raw. And when I was living in Florida, I was eating mostly raw. So I would say like 90% raw. But I did find when I was living in Seattle, it was significantly harder for me to do that because of the cold climate. So I think it's definitely harder to maintain on a cold climate. I'm not saying it's impossible, but for me, it was definitely a little bit too difficult. So knowing that I was coming to Hungary, knowing it was going to be summer and it was going to be hot, I had planned to do a raw summer, and I did a 30-day raw vegan challenge in my online community, and a bunch of us did that, and that was great. And so I decided to keep going, and I would say that my experience was really easy. So I don't want this to sound like it's going to be easy for everyone, because everyone's coming to this from a different lifestyle. So if you are like me and you've already been eating vegan and high raw for a number of years, it probably will be easy, especially if you are in a warm climate. However, if you're coming from an omnivore diet, a standard American diet, or a keto diet, or something along those lines, then I think it's going to be much more difficult. And you kind of want to take it step by step, unless you have like an urgent health issue, in which case I definitely recommend doing whatever you can to get the wheels turning in the right direction as quickly as possible. But in terms of my experience, I didn't notice like a huge shift. I was eating pretty much the same foods, except I was including like protein powder in the smoothies prior to starting on the fully raw diet. And then I was also including some legumes that were cooked, and then also some steamed vegetables. In the beginning, when I first got here, I would say in the springtime, I was still eating grains too, so like oats and gluten-free grains, but I had stopped that, I would say like a month prior to starting the fully raw challenge. And I would say it was really easy for me, but I didn't notice a huge difference. So slight improvements, so like slight improvements in elimination, slight improvements in skin, but nothing like crazy. Like I even debated making this video because I'm like, well, I didn't really experience like a huge shift or anything like that. I think the main reason for that is because I was consuming a lot of fats in my salad. Not a lot compared to what other people do. However, a lot compared to like the 80-10-10 or the medical medium lifestyle that I kind of have been following loosely. And by a lot, I mean I would have like 1/3 of a cup of cashews in my salad dressing, and then oftentimes I'd have like 1/3 or 1/2 of an avocado, or maybe some olives, or maybe some walnuts in terms of the raw vegan walnut meat that I shared earlier in the salad. So I would have like 2 forms, sometimes 3 forms of plant fats in the salad dressing or in the salad completely. Now, that's not terrible. However, I feel like I still have some healing to do. I know that I have, some viruses still in my physical body, which is medical medium information. Don't worry, it's not like a freaky thing. Everybody has viruses in their body and you can't fully neutralize them. You can only get them down to, I would say, like 5%. So you can neutralize about 95% of them. And so that's kind of why we have to do cleanses periodically throughout the year. So let me know if you want me to do a video explaining that. I don't want to get too much into that right now. Otherwise, this will be really long. But anyway, I just know I have a little bit more healing to do. And so therefore, it is in my best interest to keep the fats low, like 10 to 15% of my calories. Whereas when I was including like 2 to 3 different types of plant fats in my dinner salad, I would say I was on the border of like 20-25% of my calories were coming from fats. I wasn't consuming fats throughout the day unless there was like, a gram or 2 here and there, but nothing like concentrated like in the salads. But even that 20 to 25% I think is too much when you want to see an improvement when you were already eating a really healthy diet to begin with. So if you're looking to see improvements in energy levels, improvements in joint pain, improvements in weight loss, improvements in just overall health and skin, the youthfulness of your skin, it's best to go very low on the fats until you have reached like this threshold where you feel like you've cleansed your body to a good amount. And I'll talk about that later, but I feel like I'm not quite there yet. And so I think that's why I didn't notice like a huge improvement, just slight benefits. But I would say that if you're coming from like a standard American diet or from a high-fat cooked vegan diet or processed foods kind of a diet, you will notice a huge difference, okay, like night and day. But for me, it was just like a slight difference. And so because of that, I am now deciding to transition into a fat-free fruit cleanse, which is still going to include celery juice in the mornings, and that's what I'm on right now as I record this. So right now I'm only consuming fruits and celery juice in the morning. And I am also consuming like some savory fruits, so like some tomatoes, some cucumbers, some zucchini. Those are all technically fruits, just because I'm one of those people who craves a salad. Like I love a salty dish. So I don't want to just eat fruit all day. It's totally doable and it's enjoyable, and I think the summertime is the best time, but I don't think I would ever want to be a fruitarian. I think I think we all need mineral salts that come in the leafy greens, and which is primarily why I'm still doing the celery juice. But I just feel better when I have the salads. However, I can tell just a few days into the fruit that I'm detoxing on a deeper level than I was while I had those plant fats in my dinner salad. So I think periodically we have to do these fat-free cleanses in order to raise the bar and make the organs feel completely safe, and take some pressure off the digestion, because when we're eating foods that require more energy to digest, so like plant fats, plant protein requires more energy to digest than fruits. When we're doing that, we are taking energy away from cellular repair and regeneration and detox and cleansing, and the ability to tend to all of those tasks for the body. So like, think of it like this: if you are adding more to your plate, and maybe you took on a second or third job, and now you have less time to clean the house. So after a while, the house is going to get messier and messier and messier, right? So you have to have times where you take stuff off of your plate so you can clean the house. So that's essentially what we're doing. We're doing a little bit of cleansing and detoxing right now is what I'm doing. So I'm doing fat-free for at least a couple of weeks, and I might even do a few days of juice cleansing or water fasting after this, and I'm not necessarily recommending that for you. I am just kind of tuning in to my own body. I like to be my own doctor. That's kind of what I teach clients to do as well. You have to have dialogue with your body, and you have to be able to feel into it, and you after you are on this path for a while, you can tell, is this a detox symptom, or is it something else? And I feel like right now I'm experiencing some detox symptoms that I wasn't experiencing while I was eating fully raw with those plant fats in my dinner salad. So that's kind of where I'm at right now, and I'm going to make a separate video outlining how the fat-free fruit cleanse has gone, and I'll let you guys know what I do after that. But I hope that you found this beneficial. I hope that maybe this is inspiring you to eat more plants, or to dabble in raw food. But let me know if you have any questions. I'm here to help, and let me know what you would like to see from me next.